All right. So I thought it was time for a crossover. I did release a prior reflex, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a crossover as well because something I talked about this in an earlier video, but something I think I just wanted to talk about real briefly. Um, the concept of submission, and I was watching, Please Let's Talk, and for some reason when I popped in, they were talking about submission, so I guess the subject changed or whatever about what they was talking about. And I was just like, submission in the black community, there's a reason why black women are find that word to be toxic. And it seems like not too many people are, it just goes over everybody's head. So I thought, hey, let me do a crossover on it. So here we are.
Put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it.
Because there's some things that worry me that people don't. It's like, I don't know. Maybe they're too stuck in echo chambers that they don't want to acknowledge history or there's a reason why the black community is where it is. I mean, that wasn't by accident. It was organized to be that way. And when it comes to submission, I align more so with BGS, and I also align with Jason Black, where BGS, he pretty much states black women have never been submissive. I agree with this. I mean, because I've always thought this because looking back on history, whenever was there a time where black women could be feminine and submissive with black men? I mean, they were, for the majority, actually, the entire time black people were in America, they were subjugated to racism, slavery, and Jim Crow, etc. Racism. Today is literally the freest we've ever been, but it's on the tail end of half 500 years of all the prior stuff I was mentioning. And Jason Black made note of something that was very critical that a lot of people don't want to address or haven't addressed. At least I haven't heard it from anyone else outside of him, which I also agree with, which is the feminine cannot exist without the masculine. That is very true because it's supposed to be the masculine that develops the world, builds the world, forms, contorts the world with its power and influence, and then eventually that masculine support and protection is what breeds the feminine. I mean, today's society has literally been developed and structured so that women can be the most feminine they ever been. However, um, that behavioral sync or whatever, from Calhoun's experiment shows that utopia that forms, it breeds the true nature of women, which is not just to be submissive for survival, but to be borderline narcissistic and extremely selfish and wanting more for themselves. So that's why today's society is the way it is. You can look for you can kind of dive into Calhoun's experiment and other look into behavioral sync and all that kind of stuff, and also dive into what makes feminine, what makes masculine. But the masculine allows the feminine to exist as it is, as we know it today. And another thing when it comes to submission, the feminine submits to the masculine in a feminine type of way. But guess what? The masculine submits to the feminine in a masculine type of way. So submission goes both ways. Not like this. Now I'm not talking about submitting like MMA fighting, like y'all fighting for dominance. No. When you have masculine and feminine, they attract and they align with one another. That is what we've evolved to do naturally. Feminine doesn't like feminine because nothing's going to get anything done in a feminine. That's why the highest rate of violence is with lesbian couples. Because they cannot stand one another. Like, feminine's supposed to be provided and protected for. How are you going to have two feminines together? It's not going to work. Both of them are going to be looking towards each other to try to provide and protect for themselves. Now, masculine does not like masculine. Masculine competes with masculine. Masculine doesn't provide and protect for masculine. That's why when you have masculine women, guys ain't really checking for y'all. They're not really checking. They're not trying to look to provide and protect for y'all. No, you're competition. Like, our masculine thing is to compete, to outcompete you for the feminine qualities that we desire. But when you take the masculine away from the feminine, what happens is women tend to get more masculine. That's where the black community comes into play. Where black men, of course, like, it was structured, of course, especially in the 90s, the 1900s, well, all throughout the 1900s. You had mass incarceration on the tail end of it. You had the crack epidemic as well. You had lynching, of course. They would literally take the fathers and lynch them if they were too much of a threat, if they were running for office and trying to exact change. There's actually a real good quote that I'm going to make quote of the day coming up, so look out for that. Actually, two really good quotes that he's not doctor, Professor John Henry Clark made, and I plan on posting those, so look out for those. But essentially, all throughout history, black men have never been, in America at least, have never been able to provide the protection and provisions for the feminine to exist in black women. And in fact, what you find is the Greater Society actually not only promoted that, but made sure that continued by ensuring jobs for black women. It is somewhat easier for a black woman, or has been easier for a black woman to get a job versus a black man. Affirmative action actually was more so beneficial for women, white women in specific, to be specific, but as well as black women. Not so much for black men. So it not only made it easier for black women to get a job and provide for themselves, quote unquote, but also it's also that just men know that we are the competition for one another. So imagine this. I'm a man, I'm dominating some other man, not because I'm technically better, but because we're playing a game. I know all the rules, and I make sure that he doesn't know all the rules. And then on top of that, I'm cheating. So imagine we're playing a game. I'm playing this game. I am absolutely destroying the competition because, I'm cheating. I know the rules. He doesn't have access to the tools I have access to. Purposely, I made sure of that because I'm ensuring my own survival. I'm ensuring that I win, right? That's what I mean. If we have the capability of doing that, let's just be real. Most people will do that. However, now after all that ass whooping he's taken, right? He has nothing to lose right now because I've been constantly whooping his ass for the past however long you want to make it. I've been just constantly whooping his ass. He had no chance whatsoever. Now imagine all them tools and knowledge I had, meaning the rules themselves. I was just bullshitting. I was like, yeah, you can't do that, even though he could. Like, I was just saying whatever I said was law, pretty much, because he didn't know the rules. He didn't have the tools. He didn't have nothing. Well, now imagine all the tools and knowledge I have now gets given to him. He gets some time to catch up. What do you think's going to happen? I've been used to lollygagging and winning because I was cheating. Now you got this individual who has been getting his ass kicked all his life, and now he has a fair shot at taking at beating me. He is going to whoop my ass. So transpose that onto the white community and black community. White community was definitely whooping the black community's ass for the longest. They were dominating, but they were dominating because they didn't allow for, they didn't even allow them to read. Like, if you were a slave, you weren't even allowed, it was against the law to read. They made sure to keep them uneducated. They made sure to keep themselves ahead. That's what it was. So once they gave all the tools, well, they felt real smug at the beginning. They was like, oh yeah, We dominating. We so smart. All those monkeys with rocks and sticks, they ain't that smart. Well, guess what happened when they gave them the tools? When they gave them the tools, they found out, oh crap. Yeah, they actually are kind of smart. They're actually just as capable of doing what they got to do as we are. That's what the dominant society found out about the black community. So, you know, you have things that were put in place. You had research done on how to subjugate a population. You had Jim Crow law, et cetera, to continue the domination, to continue to make it hard. Now, all the while, black women are working. Black women have always been working. And I believe it was in the Moynihan Report where he actually tells in the report sometime in 1965, I believe, where he made it known, hey, the black family is actually structured fairly different. They're actually borderline matriarchy. Like the women actually have a lot of say in that community, like because the men have been so subjugated and beat on. They've been so weakened. The women, it was easier for the women to work. So if the woman's working and she's making the money, and her husband's not able to find a decent job, of course, power punishes weakness. She sees him as being weak. That's why that broke black man narrative is pushed out there. That's why the deadbeat dad narrative. So there is a reason why it is what it is. I mean, even then, back in 1965, the bastard baby rate in the black community was 8 times higher than it was in the white community. It was like 23% in the black community, and it was like 3% in the white community. That means out of wedlock childbearing. So even then, it was still 1 in 4 black women. I mean, today it's closer to 3 in 4, but even then, it was still high then. And birth control had come around about 1965, but the bastard baby rate continued to climb because the women would choose to do their own thing and have have the babies. And of course, there were the trap babies and stuff where they, instead of the man, he would provide marriage, but the woman, she could have the kid and try to use the court system. Yeah, so that whole dynamic, pretty much. But black women have never had the space to be submissive and feminine. Now, there was cooperation. That's one thing BGS did say. There was, and I do agree with that. There was cooperation, however, because it was necessary for survival. But there was a turning point, especially during that feminist movement, when black women felt some type of way. They got government assistance, and they sought to, what's the saying? I can do bad all by myself. Speaking of which, let's go on to the average guys. I have always upheld that the average guys, I'm sorry, you guys, feminine, submissive, all that good stuff, women, no, that's not for you. You can't, you don't make enough to, if you're average, and I'm going based off income, if you're a dude making less than, dude, I'd say probably less than 60K, like you don't have no stay-at-home wife. And even then, I'm pretty sure your wife is still working part-time or something. Like, you don't have no stay-at-home submissive housewife. Nah, not gonna happen. That's reserved for the upper echelon guys. Now, if you do so happen to get it, yeah, chances are she probably don't look too good. But at the same time, you might have gotten that 1 in a million. So kudos to you. But eventually, if you don't perform, here's what will happen. She will definitely punish you. And one way of punishing is divorce and running you through the family court. So even if you do get that feminine submissive woman and you're making 60K in 10 years, if you aren't making more than that, if you're still where you are, she gonna feel some type of way because she gonna be like, okay, I took a bet on you. I thought you'd be better off, but she gonna punish you. Shout out to JB on that one. Like women do punish failure. Like if to her you failed, you're supposed to be making more. So the guys that are at the top, they talk about the 80-20 rule, whatever. So the top 20% is where most women are looking. Really, most women want the top 5 to 10%. If I'm just being honest, that's really what they want. But they're eyeballing the 20% for sure. Because the average guys, I mean, just imagine living today as a single person, yeah, it's 45,000, 52,000. That's fine if you're a single guy. You're gonna rent for the rest of your life. You're not gonna, you're not gonna be able to really buy a house anywhere significant. Not any major cities. Hell no. In a sense, you're gonna kind of be struggling. Yes, you will. I'm gonna post a video on that from JB's channel on that. Like, yeah, the average. Like, I've always upheld like marriage today is not really for the average guy because I know the nature of women today. They will absolutely punish you. They will just like yeah. For the average guy, like, if you're not looking to do better, if you aren't capable of doing better, if you fail to get out of that average bracket, you will be punished heavily. Heavily. That's why the divorce rate declines significantly as the higher you go up. Because those women are satisfied with what they're getting, and they also realize that they can't do better because they're getting better. But yeah, if you're average, I'm sorry, you're gonna be, yes. That's the way it's gonna be. I've always upheld that. Yeah, if you're not above average, I don't recommend marriage today. I just don't, because I know how women are today. That's for the average guys. So RIP to you guys, unfortunately. And here's another thing. Let me tell you a story. Now, I'm all for self-improvement. I'm all for doing better. I'm all for getting better, right? So I recall having one late night discussion with a young man. Uh, and we were talking about this very thing, and I was kind of letting him know, like, hey, like this, like these type of women aren't going to be for the average guys. Like, you got to be above average if you want that type of woman that a lot of these guys are talking about. And he was doing what average guys would do, which is complain, which is not a masculine thing to do. But he was complaining a bit, and he was like, well, I'm comfortable, being average. What's up? What's wrong with being average? I'm okay with being average. And I kid you not, when he said that, when he said this to the effect of I'm okay being average or I'm comfortable being average, that was when I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Stop right there. I was like, nah, I can't. I know. I can't affiliate myself with people who are okay being average. If you aren't trying to get better, if you aren't trying to do better, I can't deal with you. I'm sorry. You can't be in my circle. And I let him know. I was like, yeah, yo, don't ever say that. Don't ever say you're okay being average because like that's a death sentence. That's letting any woman that deals that you're not going nowhere. Like, nah. I mean, well, actually, he should probably say that up front because then she'll know not to deal with them. But I'm just letting you know, like, do not say dumb shit like that. What the hell are you talking about? You shouldn't be okay. Your target shouldn't be to be average. You should be now. If you land there, but even if you land back at being average, that's usually based on income. But chances are, if you tried to be more than average, chances are you've at least learned and done more stuff than an average person has. But if you're living your life to be average, I can't. I I'm sorry. I don't. It doesn't. It does not compute. Not for me. But back to it. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys are like your brains are like twirling around. It's like, wait a second. You talked about submission from men and women, masculine and feminine submission, right? Yeah. Well, today's modern women, they're fed a lot of horse shit. So, unfortunately, their thoughts are what they're imagine a parasite, and that's what social media and all this jargon to keep them single because there is a reason for it. I think I've talked about it earlier. Women spend a lot of money, but submission essentially is this: the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Now, keyword the action or fact and will or authority. So, mind you, we know feminine submission. Feminine submission is, hey, she's gonna cook clean for you. She's gonna get on her knees, break out the knee pads. Shout out to the ladies. You know, if you split as a quitters. But she's gonna do all that housewife stuff, which of course, unfortunately, today's women, because of the horse shit that they're fed, they look at those women as weak. I talked about do modern women, value women, or I was talking about traditional women. I talked about that in an early video. Masculine submission is providing and protecting. Think of the concept, I mean, even though it was fairly new, but the concept of proposing to a potential spouse. You are submitting yourself to her choice. She is either going to accept you as her husband or not. She's going to either take on the role of a wife to submit to you for her wifely duties or not. And in a sense, as a sign of respect, you propose to her or you offer your hand in marriage. And then throughout the marriage, you give her stuff, you provide for her, you protect her, etc., etc. That's masculine submission. You're going to solve problems of the family, which is to provide food and shelter. That's masculine submission. So yes, submission goes both ways. I believe there might have been some more definitions to it, but yeah, submission definitely goes both ways. It's not just a one-way thing. Now, where does this tie in? Well, unfortunately, black ladies, black women, I'm talking to black women. Ladies, yeah, y'all know it's rough, you know, statistics ain't on your favor. It's getting tough out there. Yeah, most unmarried for a reason. The stereotypes are there. The prejudice is often correct. I mean, let's just be real. Most most masculine, and that's at least 51%. Most black women are not feminine. They are fairly masculine. I already explained why that is. The man is absent of the household. She's having to provide for herself and work jobs. There's more black women in the workforce than, by percentage at least, than other groups of women. Mostly because they choose to want to do it on I can do bad by myself, pretty much. So instead of getting with an average guy whom is also struggling, they rather struggle on their own. But I mean, I can't fault them for it because if you think about feminism, what a lot of people don't talk about is really what that was is it was for the below average women because when it comes to those that are RIP in the on the market, with women it's the unattractive women. So the below average women are the ones that actually have suffered throughout history and today too, because ain't no way if you're an unattractive woman, you're just an unattractive woman. I'm sorry, you're not gonna get a above average guy. Period. However, with the feminist movement, if you think about what it really was, valuing working and all this stuff, which if you're an unattractive woman, no matter what you did, you wouldn't get that high octane lifestyle. Shout out to BGS. You would never get that high octane lifestyle because no guy would really want you like that. So they supplement their looks for work because below average women have been in the workforce since I don't know how long, like forever. Like now of course they couldn't work certain jobs, but they would be in the workforce because the men that would get with them were the average to below average guys because they were unattractive. And if you think about feminine women, she needs a man to provide and protect for her to be feminine. But the provider protector that she qualifies for isn't what they call the high value guy. So that's really what that movement supplemented. It was the unattractive women. That's why you have women shaming the attractive women that can get the guy that is willing to provide for them. Go figure. Yeah, go figure. That's why you have the I think Kevin Simons talked about the shaming of the attractive women. I believe it was also Jason Black. If you don't know Jason Black, you should go check him out. There's a lot of guys that actually get stuff that he says that they kind of tweak what he says. So, but you do have women that shame, especially the unattractive women, that shame the pretty women that the guys absolutely will provide and protect for. There's a reason for that. Because beforehand, they didn't have access to that. They still don't. Well, actually, there is a cheat code now because most of those attractive women are so narcissistic that they aren't ideal for marriage. So some of those actually fairly cute, somewhat average women, they actually do have access to it today if they're feminine, cooperative, etc. The stuff that the most attractive women today aren't. If they aren't too narcissistic, there actually is a chance where they can actually get it. At least the cute ones, but still not the below average. I'm stressing that. Like today, it really opened it up for the average and slightly above average women. It didn't really. It's like the below average women, the overweight women, the just unattractive women. Yeah, it did not whatsoever. It did not improve their chances of getting a high earning man. Period. You know, it just didn't. Now the average to somewhat cute women, it did improve their chances because a lot of the most attractive women, OnlyFans, thought culture, etc., narcissism, they've been they're all in that. They're all self-centered. So when it comes to submission, I don't think people are willing to accept the truth that we society. I'm gonna have to do a whole episode on that. Oh, because I mean, society. I don't know what y'all expecting. Like, society is not heading towards a good direction. It is not. I'm gonna have to do another crossover for that because things are not looking too good in society today. Things are heading towards anarchy. Yeah, so asking the least feminine, least submissive group of women to all of a sudden who have gone through 4, 5, sometimes 6 generations of single motherhood, absent of a man, meaning remember what I said, the lack of masculinity, there will not be any femininity. So imagine 4, 5, sometimes 6 generations of non-feminine women asking that batch of women to be all of a sudden submissive and whatnot. And then compound that with get with an average guy. Not going to happen. Period. The women past 30, we'd be lucky if 10% of them were to actually have any significant change. The ones over 40, done. RIP. They stuck in their ways. They are not submitting to hell no. Especially not no average dude. Nope. Not going to happen. So yes, things will get worse, unfortunately. I might have to do a crossover there. I might do that tomorrow, but things will get worse, unfortunately. This will not be swept up and cleaned up in one generation. It just won't happen. So no, I don't think the least submissive, least feminine group of women can all of a sudden just become submissive, and it makes it even worse. You do not ask. You can't just ask somebody to be more submissive. No, you have to. See, this is why I agree so much with Jason Black's stuff because it's just I like absolute truth, and one of the most absolute truth is the power dynamic. You don't ask somebody, and this is where I'm going to put that quote, the quote of the day up there. You don't ask somebody for power. You take it. Power isn't given. You got to take it. So trying to ask somebody to submit to you, you've already shown weakness because you got to ask for it. Either she does it or she gets gone, and then you find someone that will. Because the next one, to be honest, you don't even got to find them. Like if you are where you're supposed to be, if you're producing and everything like that, women will flock to you. You don't even got to find them, to be honest. You just got to vet them. Oh, she ain't submitting? Okay, well, guess what? She will, and she will, and she is. That's just how it is. So if you gotta ask for submission, I mean, you're already on the you're already on the wrong foot. Like it's not looking good for you. I'm just saying. But yeah, power is not given; it is taken. I hope I'm digging down in the bottom of Pandora's box. I hope that things get better, but I don't see things getting better the way that I see the world. I see things getting worse. Maybe something drastic will happen where things change. Maybe the behavioral sink is corrected, but I don't see a whole batch of women just breaking out of their ways. You know, I don't. Not by majority. I mean, maybe 20%. Like over 30, maybe 20% of them. I don't see it happen. I just can't. I think the way I think I have like a simulation of the world in my head. I think very much like Jordan Peterson explained it actually fairly well, and I'll probably explain this in the next crossover too. I'm about to wrap this one up, but Jordan Peterson explained it fairly well, and it's similar to how Einstein thinks as well. I'm not saying I'm as smart as these guys, but let's just say I think the same way these guys think, which is why I'm able to predict fairly well. You know, throughout my life, I've been able to use that skill. But one of the things I do is I have a simulation of the world in my head. And as I get information, I plug it into the simulation and then I run the simulation and then I'm able to fairly accurately predict what's going to happen and predict certain outcomes and stuff about the general population. So as I learn more, my simulation gets more and more accurate. And where my simulation is right now, at least in my lifetime, I don't see things getting better. Not significantly better. I just see them kind of continuing on. And I might have to tell the story as to why that is. I'll do it on the next crossover. But yeah, I in my simulation I got going on right now, I don't see things getting rapidly better, unfortunately. Which is why I tell people you don't want to be average. Trust me. You should be working to get above average. That's like, please do not get comfortable. What did I say about being comfortable? I mean, everything I'm saying, I'm not saying it for no reason. Everything I'm saying is literally what I do. Do not get comfortable where you are, please. If you're average, do not get comfortable there. Do not strive to be average. It will not turn out well for you. You will not get that fit, feminine, submissive, whatever women. It will not happen. Now, you might get the Berthas of the world, the 300, 400 pounders. They might get desperate enough to try you out. I referred to them as the roaches earlier. You might get those type of women, but the women that are worth a damn, the women that are average and better, nah, not for you, bro. I'm sorry, that ship has sailed. So I don't mean to be, a Debbie Downer or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I'm just calling it like I see it. That's what my little simulation in my mind's telling me. That's what it's always been telling me. Because I ain't gonna lie, like that's one of the reasons why I'm like I look around and you don't realize how average is not that. I mean, I used to just growing up working and getting employee of the month and crap like that, and people telling me how well I worked, and I was just doing my damn job. Like you have to realize, like I was being rewarded for being above average because I was doing my damn job. So that goes to show you, like average is not like it's not special at all. It's just you just do a little bit more work than everybody else. So like my thing is if you can't be above average, I mean you are not. I'm sorry, you're not helping yourself. Like you should want to be above average. Strive to be above average because otherwise you will not have any power and you will not get any good prospects. I will say that. Well, that's kind of in Pookie Ray Ray territory, but I was going to say, unless you're a fairly attractive guy and you keep the muscles and everything, you might have a chance, but as I said earlier, she will punish you because the finances won't be there. So you'll have a chance to probably lay up and maybe get a few bastard kids, maybe marriage, but you'll get divorced. But you should have to get your finances in order. That is key. It's survival of the fittest. Hey, shout out to Before the Billions. Uh, but it's survival of the fittest, and in today's society, you need to earn money in order to survive. Let me see here. I was gonna end this out, but let me see if I can drop the link. If anybody, well, I only got, I think it's, let me see here. If you want to come up, but yeah, you shouldn't want to be average at all. I'm doing this on my phone, so I'm in the truck, so y'all gonna hear a bunch of crap in the back. I'm probably gonna have to clip this up for as a shorter video. But yeah, I'm, average ain't special. It is not at all. But I kid you not, when that dude told me, when he told me I'm okay being average, I got this. I got a little bit of indigestion. It's like some stuff like a little bit came up, and I was like, oh my god, like yeah, something just happened where a little bit came up, and I just felt this disgust. And I was just like, I can't, I can't do that. I can't do average. Everything I do got to be better. I've always been above average my entire life. Like everything I got to do has to be above average, and even then, I'm still not happy. Well, I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied with that. So I always want to do better. Like I can't. Oh, I'm getting a little indigestion right now just thinking about it. Oh my god, if average? No, please no. God no. Something drastic it has to happen to me. For unfortunately, Lord forbid. But no, I can't do it. I can't make excuses for y'all. I can't. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Actually, I'm not sorry. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I can't do it. So please, fellas, ladies, you know, at least for the ladies, you can't change the way you look, but you can change the way you act. You know, you cheat code, ladies. If most women are disagreeable today, guess what you got to do to be a bit ahead of the curve, to be above average? You sound like there's a cheat code there for a reason. So shout out to everybody who's watching. Shout out to everybody who's gonna watch this. And I hope that I hope I'm reaching down in the bottom of that Pandora's box right now. I hope that I'm reaching somebody out there who at least will start to realize how things are and be like, okay, let me do better. Let me get better. Let me get out here, grind, work, do whatever the heck I got to do. I'm reaching at the bottom of that Pandora's box. I really am. Because if the simulation I got going on in my head, if something drastic doesn't change, it's not looking too good. At least for the average and below average people. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be sitting up somewhere. I'm gonna be fine. Me and mine, we're gonna be fine. But I know I don't want to be fine by myself. I know that. So that being said, please, people, do better. Do not be comfortable with being average. Always try to do better. And realize that submission goes both ways, masculine and feminine. And I believe one of the most important things I probably said was the feminine does not exist without the masculine. That is necessary. So please, have a good night, everybody.